federal government. They are medical marijuana laws. California was the first U.S. state to pass a medical marijuana law in 1996. The intent was to give relief to deathly ill patients, those suffering from advanced stages of HIV/AIDS and cancer. People like Robin Few.
The doctor took one look at me. He said, "You have lymphoma." Within a couple hours, had me in the hospital, and within a few days, I was doing chemo. So I was shocked. You know, I'd never thought of cancer. You know, how you don't plan on cancer.
A vigorous and active life has been stopped with chemotherapy sessions.
Hey.
Hello, Dr. Abrams.
How are you doing?
Her oncologist is Don Abrams, who for the past 28 years has seen firsthand how marijuana helps his patients.
Deep breath for me. Cannabis is the only drug that decreases nausea and vomiting and also increases appetite. Mouth open. Also, I think people sleep better, and a little bit of euphoria I don't find is a negative thing in people that are facing malignant diagnoses.
With Abrams' recommendation, Few uses a vaporizer. It heats up the pot, releasing a gas, which is gentler than smoke.
But the best part is yet to come. See, there's all this vapor in there. Takes a little while, can sit around and smoke on this baggie for a little while. I never have nausea. I'm hungry all the time. You know, I feel like the more cannabis that I smoke, the less of the narcotics that I take. So that's been really helpful to me. They say I look better than I've looked in 2 years, and that freaks me out because I'm dying of cancer, you know.
Shamans, physicians, and pharmacists have dabbled in the notion of marijuana as medicine for thousands of years. But the relief patients feel is largely anecdotal. Marijuana's status as a Schedule I drug means that according to the federal government, it has no accepted medical use. The U.S. government strictly controls all American marijuana studies, and researchers who want to study cannabis must obtain it from this facility at the University of Mississippi. By some accounts, the supply is extremely limited and of questionable quality. And some scientists claim that if their research might show potential positive medical uses, the requests are rejected. It's a charge the government denies. But in other nations, getting cannabis to scientists is less complicated. Israel is among the leaders in medical marijuana research. From his lab bench in Jerusalem, Raphael Meshulam has fathered nearly 2 generations of peer-reviewed medical research. He first discovered THC in 1964.
Cannabis, although it had been investigated, nobody had really isolated it in pure form, and neither were all the other compounds there. So I thought that it's high time that somebody should do that.
For 40 years at Hebrew University, researchers study effects of THC and other cannabinoids on people and laboratory animals. Meshulam dissolves THC in an oil-based solution. In this form, measured doses can be administered accurately. Researchers here have witnessed promising results in the treatments of brain trauma, diabetes, cancers, and osteoporosis.
Cured here.
20-year-old Eyal Preisler underwent a bone marrow transplant a year and a half ago. Since then, his body experiences a chronic quasi-rejection called graft-versus-host disease.
I am treated by the THC drops for 2 months already, meaning that I just started and I already saw changes. Whether it's the digestive system, the diarrhea that is gone, and my skin that was very hard is now softer and back to its original state. My appetite is back. It really increased the appetite, and I actually gained 4 kilos in the past 2 months. I need to gain a lot more weight to get back to where I was.
Each dose that Eyal takes is as measured as any prescribed medicine. Most marijuana taken as medicine in America is not.
Medical marijuana in the States means use of marijuana against diseases. Now, from my point of view, medical marijuana is not well defined. It should be better defined. If you take aspirin, you want to take 500 milligrams of aspirin. You don't want to say, well, I don't know how much I'm getting, 20 milligrams or 2 grams. I don't see any difference why one should have a different attitude when working with marijuana. And if marijuana can have anything between 2% and 20% THC, I don't think that this is the right way to do it.
American medical marijuana laws are not well defined. Advocates say that today in California, there are more than 200,000 physician-sanctioned pot smokers and nearly 300 dispensaries. U.S. federal law enforcement believes this creates an atmosphere of overly permissive use and quasi-legalization.
How you doing today?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Good, thanks.
I was looking for something that could help me with sleeping.
Okay, well, you'd want to go with your most indica, and these are our 3 high grades.
Which one would you recommend?
I like to go for buds and less stems, so I'd go with that nice one right there.
Okay.
$150 and a brief examination could get you a physician's recommendation for medical marijuana in California.
All right. You're all set. Thank you.
The medical use laws change from county to county and from town to town. In California's Bay Area, Oakland is perhaps the most tolerant. Here in the shadow of City Hall is a 9-square-block area newly dubbed as Oaksterdam. Richard Lee is affectionately known as the mayor of Oaksterdam.
Hey, guys. Hey, Carl.
A broken back left him in a wheelchair 18 years ago. He uses and advocates medical marijuana, seeing it as more than just medicine for the body.
Won their first softball game this last week. Yeah, he's our star shortstop, right?
We saw this area of Oakland that needed revitalization, just very run down, a lot of empty storefronts. And so we saw that the cannabis industry, the cannabis businesses could work in this area and help improve it and bring economy back to the area.
According to Lee, the gross sales of medical marijuana in Oaksterdam were over $24 million in 2003, meaning nearly $3 million in sales tax would have been added to city coffers. But under U.S. federal law, the growing, selling, and use of marijuana is illegal, and federal law trumps state and local laws. So despite widespread popularity, there is still a conflict.
DEA does not make the laws. We do not make the laws. We enforce the laws.
Javier Peña is a 24-year veteran in the war against drugs. He's in charge of the DEA's San Francisco Field Division.
Any form of marijuana selling, growing, possessing, cultivating, whatever you want to do, it is very simple. Under federal law, it is all illegal.
Well, they have closed down quite a few clubs, and it has been somewhat of a setback, a counterattack, but I think we're holding strong, and that time, will win out.
We don't go after the terminally ill, the person out there that's sick, dying. We don't go after that. We don't go after the guy who's smoking out in the street corner. We go after the organizations that are supplying this illegal narcotics.
And that includes dispensaries.